Welcome to Yokohama Fishing Show 2026.
ยินดีต้อนรับสู่งาน Yokohama Fishing Show ปี 2026 นะครับ
Selamat datang ke Yokohama Fishing Show 2026.
Let's go! Hello everyone, a very good morning from Yokohama in Japan. So why are we here today? As you can see, we are at a fishing show. We're the first fishing show of the year in Japan. And Yokohama, we are offering a lot of things here for people to see, right? It's around 8:40, 8:50 a.m. right now, so we got up very early for you guys, all right? Today, we're going to show you all the latest reels, rods, and some lures and some lines as well, okay? So be very, very excited for it, okay? So let's get started with the Stella SW. We have our Kick-san here from Thailand. Okay, so guys, ladies and gentlemen, anglers, lady anglers, this is the latest Stella SW. So I guess you already know a lot about the Stella SW because we launched it last year, right, 2025. But we only launched the 10,000, 14,000 and 8,000 sizes in 2025. This year, it's going to be a full launch with the SKUs this year, right, 2026, is going to be a full launch for the SW, the Stella SWs. So here you have the 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, 18,000, 20,000, 25,000. Yes, you heard that right. It's a new size. And the 30,000 Stella SW reels, okay? So, what's new? Immediately, you already know the technologies in the Stella SW from 2025, right? The XS Tough Drag, the anti-twist fin, Infinity Cross, all those. I'm just going to give a quick summary on these things, okay? So, Infinity Cross, it has something to do with the gear, the drive gear. It's been made slightly larger, so it's more durable and stronger, all right? So, InfinityLoop. InfinityLoop is something really, really new. I can't really put it into words right now, but we'll go to the experience corner later and I'll show you what it does, okay? And what else do we have? The anti-twist fin, okay, that's to prevent line troubles. Then we also have the XX Tough Drag. So the XS Tough Drag, unfortunately, we do not have an experience corner here, but we do have a video explaining how it works. So, two main things on the XS Tough Drag. We changed the size of the drag and also the positioning of the drag, these two things. Why is this important? Because it used to be, let's see, not the 8,000, yeah, here. So this is the 14,000. So the drag used to be around here, all right, in this position. So you can see it's quite small and it's in the center. What that does, right, is when you have very, very strong fish pulling out, let's say you get a strike on a dogtooth tuna or any kind of tuna or pelagic, right, and they zoom out, right, after the strike. What happens is like the line just goes berserk out of the spool. And when that fish keeps on pulling on your spool and your drag can't really stop it, you can just only let it run. What that does is the high speed creates very, very high temperatures, okay, on the drag. Because the drag is trying to stop it, right, so you get a lot of friction, a lot of heat. So what that does is the high temperature will affect the strength of your line. High temperatures will let lines break more easily. Let's say your tensile strength of your line is rated, 100 pounds. But then because of the high heat, it might go down to 80 pounds. So you're getting a lot of losses there. So, XX Tough Drag is changing the size of the drag and the positioning. It's no longer here, but rather in the spool and here, okay? So what that does, right, is it helps to dissipate a lot of that heat out because it's here and it's here. It's not in the center anymore, right? And because of the size of the drag, right, the heat that it can dissipate is larger as well. So you're looking at around, in terms of benefits, right, you're looking at around 20 degrees Celsius, a drop in 20 degrees Celsius. The same fish pulling on the same spool at the same speed. With the XX Tough Drag, you get a 20 degrees Celsius reduction in heat. That protects your line, ladies and gentlemen, okay? So this is the XX Tough Drag. And because the XS Tough Drag is only beneficial when there's high speed, okay? There's high speed, high heat, it's only available in the sizes 10,000 and up. So it's a 10,000, 14,000, 18,000, 20, 25, 30,000 sizes. You don't get the XS Tough Drag on the 8,000 and below sizes because you don't really use these reels for this kind of fish, right? So remember that, XS Tough Drag only in the larger reels. Okay, then one thing that you might not know is the handle knob here. Okay, so in the previous Stella SW, for 4, 5, 6,000, right? They have had the same handle knob size. Okay, so this one is the size 5,000. The size 5,000 here. The size 5,000 and 4,000 have the same knob, now made slightly smaller. Okay, 39 millimeters compared to the 2020 Stella SW. But when you go to the 6,000, okay, there's a 6,000. All right, 6,000 here. When you go to the 6,000, you can see that the knob is much larger. It's the same size as the 8,000. Okay, this means that it's more comfortable for you to hold. Okay, and for the 4,000, it's also more comfortable. Okay, so meaning 4, 5, 6,000, the handle knob sizes have been changed. Okay, 4 and 5,000 made smaller, 6,000 made larger, same as 8,000. All right. So yeah, I think we covered most of what the Stella SW has to offer. Okay, we'll have a look at the InfinityLoop right now. All right, it's pretty exciting. They're still setting up, guys. We're that early, okay? We're that early. Right, so guys, as you can see here, this is the InfinityLoop. This one is with the technology, this one is without. So as you can see here, look at the tip. This one is wobbling much more than the other, okay? So the electric reels over there, they stimulate a very, very strong fish running at very high speeds. So what happens here is that you can see this one has much smoother drag performance. This one, not so much. Okay, this affects your line, okay? And your rod as well. Yeah. So you can think of it like this. If you have your Stella SW, right, and you have a very, very strong fish pulling at such speeds, right, you want everything to be perfect. You wouldn't want your fish, you wouldn't want to lose your fish, all right? So that's why InfinityLoop is that important. It's not just for casting, because like the line lay is very, very nice. Well, we can put a video somewhere around on the screen. You can see the line lay, okay? The line lay is right, it helps with the casting distance, but not only that, it helps with the drag performance as well, okay? So protect your line, protect your rod with the InfinityLoop. Okay, so I think we've covered most of what the Stella SW has to offer. Let's go to the next reel, which is, let's have a look at the Vanquish, the Vanquish CE, all right? Vanquish CE, it means the competition edition. That's what CE means, okay? So here is a short first look at the Vanquish CE. A little bit different from the current Vanquish, okay? Slightly darker in appearance. So this reel is lighter. So it's not lighter in the sense of weight, it's lighter in the sense of the cranking feel. We have here a very, very nice setup, okay, that has been done up by Shimano to show the difference in cranking feel. So the weight is the same. It's the same as the current Vanquish. But what is different, right, is here. These two things are different. On the Vanquish CE, the competition edition, the handle shaft here, the rubber seal has been removed. Secondly, the grease in the reel here has been replaced with oil. Okay? So these two things help to make the reel feel very, very light. Okay, when cranking. Okay, so unfortunately, you guys can't be here with me. So this here shows the reel having a 2-gram lure tied to it. Okay, and this one is without any lure. Okay, there is no load on this at all. Okay, so immediately this one is light enough. It's very hard to imagine anything lighter, but Shimano actually managed to have something even lighter here on the Vanquish CE, because they replaced the grease, the sticky viscous grease, with oil, and they also removed the rubber seal, which usually has a little bit of friction on the handle shaft. Okay, So with these two things, Shimano has achieved a lighter feel. Not a lighter weight, but lighter crank feel. That's why it's called Competition Edition, guys. So it's for those anglers who really want to go into tournaments and think that the slight difference in cranking feel will make every difference in the world, okay? So here, this one it just shows, right, the force needed to churn the reel. So this one is 0.52, 0.39. These measurements don't mean much to us, but what you can see here is the vast difference between the two numbers. 0.39 is roughly what, 20+%? Yeah, more than 25% of 0.52. So meaning that you can get, in terms of measurement, more than 25% reduction in cranking weight. Okay, so Vanquish CE, only difference is the handle shaft and the grease being replaced by the oil. Okay, next, let's have a look at, what else do we have? Let's cover the spinning reel first, right? We have next, okay, next let's have a look at the Sephia XR, okay? So Sephia BB, it started out as a core solid series spinning reel. But in the Sephia SS and Sephia XR, right, they are actually in the MGL series, the Magnum Light series spinning reel, okay? And this is the latest addition to the Sephia XR lineup. The Sephia XR lineup used to be purely for egging, right? You have your C3000 Shadow Spool double handle, right? Sephia XR, and you also have your double handle high gear, okay, and also the C3000S. These are all the usual sizes you will see in the Sephia reels. But now you have a new lineup, the C2000S, okay? This reel, right, is for those who are looking for even lighter games. These are for the lighter application, okay? They are suitable for squids that have just hatched out of the eggs, okay? So in Malaysia, Indonesia, I'm not sure in Philippines, but then Thailand as well, shore egging is quite a popular game, okay? So in Malaysia, you're looking at the east coast, okay? The east coast of Malaysia, on the peninsular side. Singapore, there are some shore egging as well. Indonesia is an archipelago, right? So definitely a lot of shore egging there as well. So the C2000 is versatile because it can also be used for arging, okay? Because the size C2000S is just nice for arging as well. So the Sephia XR, what I like to say is, if you'd like to know more about it, I would say it's a difference between core solid and MGL. We've done up a video about that, so it'll be linked up somewhere on the screen. If you want, you can check that out. And MGL series, it just means that it's used for light game. Okay, you really do not need a core solid series for egging in the Southeast Asia region. Okay, next. Okay, this experience corner is also quite interesting. So this experience corner, right, it shows the difference between Nasci and a non-Nasci product. Okay, so this is the Nasci that was launched in our region in 2025, late 2025, and this is a non-Nasci product. So what this wants to show people, right, is the rigidity of the reel, of the body. All right. And this is important, I'll tell you why later, okay? The burden here is 1 kilograms on both, roughly around 1 kilograms, but they're the same, okay? So, if you see here the non-Nasci, sorry, if I turn it right, can you see how it moves? You get a little bit of flex there, right? It's because of this part here. It's not that rigid. But what we're trying to show in Nasci is the rigidity of the body, all right? So let's have a look here. It still flexes a little bit, but not as much as this. You see, I'm going at the same speed. So it's not like I'm using extra force on this reel, okay? I'm trying to be as objective as I can. Yeah. Okay. So you can clearly see the difference in the flex. See how it wobbles. Or maybe we give the audience, right, we let them have a look from above, from this angle here. This angle here. So when I crank it, right, you can see how much it wobbles left to right. You get that? Okay, great. So, have a look at the Nasci. It still goes 11, right, but not that much. Okay. So, I mentioned that this is quite important. Okay. Before we started looking at this experience corner, why? It's because there's one reel that is going to launch in our region that will have the same rigidity in that body. And that reel is the Nexave. Okay? You can see here. So the Nexave will have the same body as the Nasci and the same rigidity as well. Okay? So it's very exciting in our region because the Nexave is considered one of the lower end reels. Okay? So if you get the same body, right, that can withstand that has that kind of rigidity to withstand the wobble. Okay, when you get a very, very strong fish, it'll definitely add to your comfort. All right, so the anti-twist fin, okay, is very nice for lesser line troubles, so that your line, it doesn't get slacked and goes down here, and when you crank it right, ooh, the line ends up going into the spool. Okay. All right. What else? What else? Oh. This, the Calcutta Conquest BFS Limited. I'm saying limited because Shimano is going to limit the production to only in 2026. All right, it's launching this year. It's going to end this year as well. Okay, so what is the Calcutta Conquest BFS Limited? Basically, it's just an appearance overhaul, all right, an aesthetic overhaul. You get the specs wise, everything is the same as the 2023 Calcutta Conquest BFS. Okay, it's just that this uses Yokohama parts, right? As you can see here, it has a very, very nice silver sheen onto it, especially the handle. Okay, so let's give a slight recap on the Calcutta Conquest BFS, right? It uses the MGL Spool 3. Okay, but more importantly, right, you don't really feel any backplay. Okay? You don't really feel any backplay when you churn the reel. You see, it has level wind synchronization as well. Okay, and you can see I'm trying to backplay it a little bit. And it's very, very minimal, guys. It's very, very minimal. So if you've been thinking about getting the Calcutta Conquest BFS, right, you can also consider the Calcutta Conquest BFS Limited if you can get your hands on one. All right? Okay, next. Let's have a look at the MGL Spool 4 Experience Corner. Okay. So here you have two setups here, right? One is a normal spool. On my left is a normal spool, and on the right is the MGL Spool 4. Okay. So how different is the MGL Spool 4? And let's talk about how Shimano achieved the MGL Spool 4. So the MGL Spool 4 is different in the way that it has a taper here. Usual spools, they are the white line. The blue line here is the profile of the MGL Spool 4. Okay? It's slightly bended upwards a little bit in the middle. Okay? It's slightly bended upwards a little bit in the middle. Okay? And how does this help? Usually when lines, right, they are lined up in a spool that is flat. There's a flat profile. What happens is when you fully line the spool, fully fill the spool with line, what happens is the line will collapse in the middle a little bit. Okay? It will collapse a little bit in the middle. Okay? But then because it collapsed in the middle, so Shimano just added, right, put in some of their manufacturing magic and added that profile to lift the middle up. So when you fill that spool, the MGL Spool 4 with line, the line will actually be straight, okay? So that you don't have any lines from the side eating into the middle. Okay? So that is the benefit of the MGL Spool 4. So this whole setup here, these two are air compressors. They shoot out air into the spool to show you the difference in vibration. All right? So let's try if I can feel any difference in vibration. すいません。これを初めても大丈夫ですか？はい。ここつまんでもらって。はい。これが MGL4。Guys, I can't really feel anything. もう一度お願いします。 Yeah, guys, I really can't feel anything here, man. Okay. Hi. Oh, it's so different. Okay, this is much. It vibrates a lot more, not at the start, but when the spool reaches its maximum speed, right? Well, it vibrates a lot more. Guys, they're doing some calibration. Whoa, it's almost zero, right? Wow. This is very, very impressive, right? Wait, let me get my mic back on. Okay, all right, great. So, you can see here, right, the MGL Spool 4, it was introduced by Shimano last year, 2025. So, up till now, you have these 4 models that has the MGL Spool 4, okay? Here, you have the Calcutta Conquest DC, okay? Then, you have the Scorpion DC MD, the Aldebaran DC, and the Antares, the 2025 Antares. Oh, guys, the Scorpion DC MD, by the way. So for those who have been wanting Antares DC MD but couldn't get their hands on it because it's a little bit out of budget, maybe you can consider the Scorpion DC MD now. Okay. It's also one of the latest additions in the Shimano lineup in 2026. So next to it is the Calcutta Conquest DC. So the Calcutta Conquest DC has something new to it, the Infinity Drive. All right, Infinity Drive, for as long as we've known, it has only been in overhead reels, and for the freshwater low-profile reels, I think the Calcutta Conquest had the Infinity Drive first, and the Calcutta Conquest DC is the second freshwater low-profile bait cast reel to get it. Okay, the low-profile round bait cast reel to get the Infinity Drive. So Infinity Drive, what is it? So for the Infinity Drive, right, in short, it means that if you're getting the same fish on the other end of the line and the same burden or same load, okay, Infinity Drive makes it 30% easier for you to crank the reel. Okay, so it means less fatigue for the angler. You're getting tired out lesser. Okay, but if you want to churn out, so when you want to churn out the same power, you use lesser strength. But if you use the same strength, you'll get to churn out more power. Right? That's what the Infinity Drive does for you. So another thing is the silent drive. The silent drive is also on this reel, okay, so that it gives you minimal play, right? So less vibration when you crank it. Okay. Yeah, so the Calcutta Conquest DC also uses the IDC5 system. It has been very, very popular since last year. Why? Because we have removed the N for nylon, P for PE, and F for fluoro. Those modes, they are gone. Now we have L, M, and H, low, medium, high. So it's very, very easy now to understand and to set. Low, 1, it just means the minimum brake force. But if we're going to the maximum, it will be high and max 5, H5. So this is the maximum brake force. So it's very, very easy to understand. In the middle, we have M, 3. So guys, it's very, very easy to understand now. No more MPF. It's now LMH. All right? The Calcutta Conquest DC. All right, what is next? I think we've covered most of the reels here. Let's have a look at the overheads. All right? It's not that packed yet, guys, because right now it's not open to the public. It's around 9:30 a.m. right now. The public will only come in at 12 p.m. So we have to be done before then, because we're not going to be able to see any reels if we wait till 12 p.m. Okay? Because the public here goes crazy over these reels. They've been lining up since 8 a.m. in the morning outside, waiting for the doors to open at 12 p.m. That's how crazy Japanese anglers are. In a good way, all right? Don't hate me for it. Okay, next, let's have a look at the... Let me see if I can get this. Yeah, the spot just opened up. All right, great. So here we have the OCEA Jigger LD left hand. So this was launched in 2024. It's nothing new, but the new thing here is that now it has a left hand. Okay, as you can see here, 2501. Okay, that one is very important for our region because a lot of the anglers in our region, in the Southeast Asia region, they want the left hand reels. Okay, so a little bit of a recap on the OCEA Jigger LD. All right, okay. So we can see here the handle. Okay, is a new design. New design as in different from the OCEA Jigger, yeah, the silver ones. Okay. So, OCEA Jigger LD, the most important is the lever drag, okay? So a lot of people might think, what is so important about the lever drag, right? Yes, they get it that the drag adjustment is easy, okay, from 0 to half, okay, then from half to full, okay, it's quite easy. But maybe a lot of people, what they don't know is that with the lever drag, right, it's very easy to know how much drag you're putting on at the moment compared to a star drag. Let's say from here, this reel has a 20 kilogram drag, right? It's very hard for you to know if you're putting on 10, 15, 20 kilograms of drag. But with a lever drag, right, because from 0 to 20, okay, this is 0, this is 20, it's very easy for you to say, let's say you want 10 kilograms of drag. You just go to half. That's 10 kilograms, right? If you want 15, it's between 10 and 20. So now you get 15 kilograms of drag. If you want 20, you just max it out. That's 20, right? So it's very easy to adjust and it's very easy to know how much drag that you're putting on the reel, right? Compared to a star drag. So you see this nifty thing here is to prevent you from going ballistic on the drag once you get your strike. Let's say you're on a light line right now and you go from 0 or 5 then straight to 20 kilograms of drag. Chances are you're going to break that line, right? So usually for beginners who are not used to lever drags, Shimano has this nifty thing here to stop it right at the strike drag, which is 10 kilograms. Then if you need more, you press this black part here in so that you can get more access to more drag, all right? But let's say you're a seasoned angler and you want something. You don't want this thing because you think like, it's getting in the way, right? You can't really adjust your drag really smoothly because of this thing here. Then you can actually open up this reel, okay? And there's a bolt inside that you can lock. And what happens is, you see here, the stopper has been pressed in, okay? Locked in. So what this helps with, right, for advanced anglers, right? You can just freely go from 0 to 20. From 10 to 20 is also very, very easy, okay? Because you don't have that stopper anymore. All right, another thing, guys, is when you purchase this reel, the LD reel, the right hand or left hand, regardless, okay, you will get a light cam drag in the box, okay? What this means is that can you see here? There's a less, there's a more here, right? Okay. So the less or more here, once you turn it over to the left side, right, you can actually remove this. And you see a cam drag here. So originally in the box, right, the cam drag here is set for 0 to 20 kilograms of drag. But if you change it out to a light cam drag, right, what it means is that you can use it for lighter lines. Okay? Lighter lines, why? Because on lighter lines, you wouldn't want your drag to go full from 0 to 20. If you change out the cam drag, right, to a light line cam drag, it limits the maximum 20 kilograms drag down to around 12 or 14 or 16. All right? Yeah. So this part here, it helps you preset the drag. So you can see less is less and more. So if you want a stronger drag, right, you just go more. Okay, meaning that you access more of that 20 kilogram drag here. Okay, but then let's say you're on the lighter setup, okay, and you don't want to change your cam drag, right? You can actually go lighter, turning it to less, okay. Then when you engage your drag, right, it actually doesn't access the 20 kilogram drags, okay. So this reel is very, very versatile, I would say. Okay? You can use it for light game, you can use it for heavy game. It all depends on how you use it. Right? Shimano has made all these, included all these technology and these nice features, right? So that you can choose the way you want to use your reel. Okay? So again, left hand is already out, launched in 2026. So please look forward to this reel. All right, okay, next. Let's have a look at the Grappler. Okay, the Grappler. Grappler 300, okay? So this reel is quite popular in Malaysia and Indonesia as well, okay? So the Grappler, this Grappler 300 is a little bit different. You can see immediately the body. It looks a lot like the new Trans and like the Bantam as well, because it uses the core solid body, okay? Core solid body for aluminum alloy for higher rigidity, okay? Why higher rigidity? Because this one, Shimano has designed this for slightly heavier game, okay? So let's say, what I would say about this reel, right, is I would recommend this to people who find the OCEA Jigger too big of a reel, but you still want that speed, the speed of jigging, right? Because in the OCEA Jigger, right, let's say the 1500 high gear SKU, that one can go up to a line retrieve of 97 centimeters. This one, on the XG model, you can get 103 line retrieve. What this means is that without the size of OCEA Jigger, you get the speed of OCEA Jigger jigging. Okay? So if you want to do high-speed jigging but slightly smaller size reel, the Grappler 300, the latest Grappler 300 here, the XG is the way to go. All right. Another thing is it has the SVS Infinity brake system. So the SVS Infinity brake system, once you see these brake systems, right, it means that the reel supports a little bit of casting. Okay? So you can actually cast it out using the Grappler as well, which is something you don't really do on the OCEA Jigger. Right? So the SVS Infinity brake system and the core solid body and the high line retrieve system, okay? Thinking about getting an OCEA Jigger but think, OCEA Jigger is just too bulky. I don't want that. But I want the high speed jigging of an OCEA Jigger, what the OCEA Jigger can offer. Then the Grappler 300 XG might just be the reel for you to get, all right? So lastly, let's have a look at, I think this will be the last of the reels. The Ocea Conquest FT, guys. So the Ocea Conquest FT, what does FT mean? FT means finesse tune. So as you can see here, right, it uses the FTB spool. Okay, the FTB spool. FTB usually comes in our BFS lineup, okay, on the freshwater bait casting series. So you see here now on an OCEA reel. So Ocea Conquest FT, the FT means finesse tune. You can pretty much think of this reel like the saltwater version of BFS. Okay? And what is this reel used for? It's designed for light jigging and light bottom fishing. Because of the FDB spool, right, the MGL spool here, how it helps is that it has a very, very light startup, but it also has a very, very light stop. Right? A very, very quick stop. So let's say you're doing very, very light bottom fishing. You're using very, very small madais, right? Then the very, very light jig, it hits the bottom. On a traditional reel, you wouldn't really feel when it hits the bottom. But on this reel, you can because of the MGL spool. Okay? So it has a very, very light feeling to it. Okay? I'm cranking it right now and it's super, super light. Like there's almost no vibration in it. Okay? And one thing to note is the drag. So when you think of drag, right, in the BFS, the traditional BFS reels, the drags are usually at 3.5 kilograms, okay, because they're used in freshwater. But this Ocea Conquest FT here is going to be used in saltwater condition, right? So you're probably going to get larger fish in saltwater conditions. So that's why the drag, right, has been increased to 5 kilograms instead of 3.5, all right? 5 kilograms on the Ocea Conquest FT. So the Ocea Conquest FT, right, you use it for light jigging, very, very light jigs. You use it for light bottom as well, okay? So it has a slightly larger spool as well. The slightly larger spool helps with the speed. When line goes out, when your jig is sinking, okay, it pulls on the spool much faster. So why is this helpful? Because imagine, if something moves at a very, very high speed and suddenly stops, you'll be able to detect that change in speed as compared to when something is moving slow, then stops. Okay, so when the spool is spinning very, very fast and the jig hits the bottom, right, then you will know, oh, it's exactly that time to churn it up a little bit from the bottom. Why is this important? Because every millisecond matters when the jig hits the bottom. Why? If your jig stays there for even a second more with a bottom that is filled with corals or reefs, right, you're going to get snags, guys. Right. So every millisecond counts. Once it hits the bottom, you want it to immediately come up a little bit. Okay? And this reel helps with just that. The OCEA Conquest FT. Finestune. Alright, I think we've covered most of the reels. Alright. And since we're here, right, let's have a look at the line. Okay, so you get the new OCEA plugger and nylon line here. Okay, so why we call it OCEA plugger? Because this year's theme, right, the Infinity Connect theme is big game. So the OCEA plugger nylon line here, okay, is very easy to tie because it's slightly softer. So even at higher poundages, right, the 100, 120, or even all the way up to the 270 pounds, it will be easy to tie a knot, even though it's slightly coarser. Okay, and these things, right, the water absorption has been set to low. So your lines, right, don't worry about your lines getting too heavy for you. Okay, and lastly, they have the pure clear treatment. The pure clear treatment, it helps with the visibility of the. Not to say it helps, it actually reduces the visibility of the nylon lines. Okay, why is this important? Is because you don't want your fish, when you're using like very, very thick lines, right, like the 200 pound or the 100 pounds even, the line starts to become quite thick, quite visible underwater, and fish might think that it's a bit unnatural, right? They'll avoid it. But because of the pure clear treatment, the visibility is low, so you don't spook your fish, right? All right, so next we've covered the OCEA plugger nylon line, right? Next I want to show you this G9 line, the Pitbull G9 line. So G9, it means that when you see G9, right, think gravity. Okay, think gravity. So this is sinking line, sinking PE line. And here is a demo for you. The pink color lines, right, are the G9 lines, and the green color lines here are the floating lines, the usual PE lines, usual PE braided. So the demo here, you can see, once I shake this, right, and I put it back upside down, okay, immediately you can see the pink lines, right, starting to sink, while the green lines, they still stay in the water. So these are all chopped up lines of the G9 and the usual PE braided line, okay? See, now, I think more than 80-90% has already gone down more than half, sank more than half. So this is important, right? For, let's say, you're using very, very light tackle, very, very light lures, okay? We're talking about 1, 2, maybe 3 micro lures, right? 1 to 3 grams. So sinking helps because if you don't use a sinking line, and there are not a lot of sinking lines out there, right? If you don't use a sinking line, what happens is like the line might actually float your lure instead. Okay? So for it to actually sink, you want to have a sinking line, right? Very, very important. That's why you can see here, they don't go up to very high poundages. The maximum I see here is 35 pound PE2, okay? And for the length, they are only 150, they go up to 150 meters only. So these are very, very suitable for light application, right? Light application. Okay, so I think we've covered that. Let's have a look at the rods, right? Okay. Rods.